Hi, everybody. So tonight we're talking about all of the changes that are coming up in terms of whether you're a charitable trust or an incorporated society or want to become one of those, because there are some changes in the law that have happened recently, and fortunately we've got a little bit of time up our sleeve to get it all right. There's a fair amount of work involved in doing that. So we're going to start off with us very generously is Isaac Watnell from IC Law. He's obviously a legal expert, and he's going to go over the legal requirements that are coming up, what's changed, and what needs to happen, and that sort of thing. And then I'm going to follow up with how best we might go about complying with the new laws, and how we can help in doing that. I want to thank Isaac first of all for readily agreeing to come along and help us out here, and also very unusual for a lawyer. He's doing it pro bono. That's something that we'll definitely take, and he was very enthusiastic when we got it. So thank you, Isaac, and I'll hand over to you, and you can start sharing your screen whenever you like.
It's brilliant. Thanks very much for the very kind introduction there, Doug, and yeah, thanks very much to CLM Community Sport for having us aboard for this. We'd love to give back where we can, and obviously a really great cause with everything that you guys are doing, and really happy to be aboard. And apologies for the background here. I'm actually stuck in our new Waihi office where some of you might have seen that the Gorge has decided to not play ball today, so I'm doing it remotely, but I think that's the best thing about it, is that we can do all this from anywhere now. So I'll start off by getting into the screen sharing. Obviously it's not the sexiest part of what we do in terms of funding, and all of those sorts of things are probably a lot more interesting than your legal structure, but as you will note, it is a very important aspect to get right, and one that's got a deadline coming up. So without further ado, I'll just jump in and share my screen. I'll make sure that we can see that, and if I do this, I'm beginning. So does that come up all right for everybody there?
Yeah, looks good, Isaac.
Perfect, that's great. So topic of discussion today, incorporated societies and charitable trusts. Just going to talk about some of the updates that we've had in this space. My name's Isaac Watnell, Associate, IC Law, Colonial Foley. So we've got the new Act coming through. So it's been a while since they've had a look at that law, and they've decided that over 100 years is time to change things out. So they've basically decided to do a big modernising exercise. Takeaway points from it is that they've recycled a lot of obligations imposed on company directors in the Companies Act, and applied them equally to officers of incorporated societies, and also taken steps to require that all of the incorporated societies in New Zealand update their constitution. And from what we've been told, it is a large exercise. I think there's enough incorporated societies in New Zealand that every lawyer could technically have 4 or 5 to do. So it is a big job ahead of us. Thankfully we've got this lead in time to get this all sorted, but it will mean that all incorporated societies are required to re-register, basically. So bit of work there. You're probably asking, what does it mean for you? It means basically, if you've got a society currently, you're going to have to re-register it. You're going to have to draft a new constitution in line with the new Act, and you're going to have to acquaint yourselves with the obligations of officers. And as I say, not too dissimilar to what we've already seen in terms of obligations on directors imposed by the Companies Act 1993. So yeah, a little bit more about that constitution. Yeah, they've all got to have a constitution compliant with this new act, and basically, yeah, it's just a document like a charter or a manifesto that sets out, yeah, the structure of the incorporated society, powers that are afforded to the officers, and yeah, the roles and procedures. So yeah, for example, you've got to have a dispute resolution procedure in line with the new act. Yeah, so basically, if you've got one currently, a constitution, our advice is that, yeah, none are compliant, so they're all going to have to be updated. But yeah, Doug will probably touch a bit more about this in his part of the presentation, but there is a builder available, and yeah, best of all, it is free. So yeah, there's no little reason why we can't get this all sorted at very low, yeah, or no cost, in fact, to you guys, which is good. So yeah, content of the constitution, I've touched on a few bits already there. So yeah, obviously if you're gonna have a society, you're gonna have to have a name, and you're gonna have, yeah, there's a few things there about, yeah, how you might have members join or leave, how the constitution itself might be altered, requirements on meetings. So I believe that incorporated society members are required to meet once a year to discuss matters, where your surplus assets might go if you wind up your society. So if you've decided that it's time to bring the society to an end, in that constitution you generally nominate another group that you'd put the excess funds to. There can't be any left over if you do wind up your society. It's got to be, yeah, distributed to another non-profit rather than profits distributed between members, say. And then, yeah, managing finances and dispute resolution. So it's all pretty straightforward stuff, but yeah, it is something that does have to be updated with the new act. So that's that there. So non-compliance, so if you don't, yeah, re-register and complete that new constitution in line with the act, then you do risk being deregistered after 1 December 2025, which, yeah, is essentially an obligation for the society to wind itself up if it can't, yeah, come in line with the new act. So that basically means that, yeah, it's got to pay off all its debts and then distribute its surplus assets to another non-profit. If you, yeah, continue to operate after deregistration, then you lose the protection, rather, say, of the corporate veil. So yeah, an incorporated society takes on a corporate personality and shields its members from liability. So if you don't keep that up, then you lose the protection of that, and you can become personally liable for failings to distribute assets or account for liability. So yeah, important to do if you want to, yeah, keep registration up. Yeah, I've made a note there that you can, yeah, technically still have an incorporated society. They do exist, but yeah, again, liability sits with the members rather than the society itself, and yeah, difficult to get funding, I understand. So that's that there. Yeah, just touching as well, I thought it would be important to, yeah, touch on the duties imposed on the officers of an incorporated society. So yeah, as I say, a lot of these have been directly transposed from the Companies Act 1993. So we've got some main ones there, and look, they are pretty straightforward. As long as you're doing the right thing and, yeah, exercising your powers for a proper purpose, and yeah, not improperly, and exercising due skill and care, complying with the act, and yeah, basically not doing anything bad, then you're probably going to be all right, as long as you're recording things properly. But yeah, important to note that there are those obligations there that you need to be mindful of when you're exercising your duties as an officer of the corporate society. And then, yeah, we're getting through it. So yeah, we're on to charitable trusts now. So yeah, a little bit different there. There's also been a fair amount of legal updates and in this space as well. So we've had obligations come in under the Trust Act 2019, which has also had a bit of a lead-in period. For trusts to be updated as well to come in line with the new law in that space as well. So we've got basically updates happening all around this space. So as most of you will know who are involved in trusts, is that they have to have a specific charitable purpose, and they're usually established there where you don't have a membership base. So incorporated societies require a minimum of 10 members to be able to operate. Trusts, you can have 1 or 2 trustees and still be in a position to be able to operate. So must have that charitable purpose as defined by legislation. So some of them have an advancement of religion, say, or other beneficial purpose to the community. So that has to be in line with those requirements of the Charitable Trust Act to be considered a charity and therefore be afforded the graces that the charities are offered. They must also serve a certain class of beneficiaries as well. So you've got to have a defined class that's easily identifiable. It's there again. Trustees akin to officers, akin to company directors, they have obligations placed on them, and a lot of these have come through in the new Act. So there's some mandatory duties that your trustees must have in mind. So we've got duty to know the terms of the trust. So you've got to know what your founding documents say, and the nature and purpose of the beneficiaries that you're serving. You've got to act in accordance with the terms of that trust deed. Again, you'll see honesty and good faith, and just generally being a good all-round person does shine through here. You've got to act for the benefit of the beneficiaries of that trust and exercise your powers for a proper purpose. There are some default duties which you can contract out of in your trust deed. So if you decide that you don't want them in your trust, then you can contract out of those things, such as prudent investment of trust property and the like. But a lot of these won't be applicable given the purpose of a lot of these charitable organisations. But there's the ability to contract out of those as well. So you might be asking yourselves, if you're looking at setting up a sports group or the like, what's right for us after all of this. So there's pros and cons to either type of structure. So I've listed a few there. Obviously the numbers game is the big one. If you're just a small group of 2 or 3 and you want to keep the group pretty closely held, and you've got the specific purpose in mind of what you want to do and the beneficiaries that you might want to serve, the groups that you might class of groups you want to serve, then a trust might be the easiest way. But bearing in mind also that you do need to have a trust deed, and whilst there is a free constitution builder for the incorporated societies, unfortunately you'd probably have to front up to a lawyer like myself to get a trust deed drafted for your charitable trust. So there's pros and cons for that. Incorporated society, as I say, you do need a few people to be in on the game to get things going. It is more flexible than a charitable trust. So if you want to, if you decide that the purpose for which you've established your group needs to pivot a little, then you've got some movement there. It's obviously a bit more rigid with the charitable trust side of things to make movement on that, given it's in the trust deed. We've got the constitution builder, which is quite handy as well, which I'll leave Doug to talk about. And then you've also got, as I mentioned earlier, you've got the corporate protection. So there's a bit of a shielding from liability for your officers, as long as they are behaving correctly. And then you've also got, I've mentioned there, you've got easy succession and a wider range of voices, so you can have people coming on and off a bit more regularly than you would with a trust, which is succession is a little bit slower, and people tend to be in there for a long time as trustees. So that's just a few things there, but happy to touch on any other questions we've got with that, and then I'll just throw another group into the works, because we love talking about structures. There's also the ability to create a charitable company, which is a company registered as a charity on the charities register, and it gets a tax exemption accordingly. Same rules apply to charitable companies as to charitable trusts, and need to be outlined in the constitution. So that's specific charitable purpose and the class of beneficiaries that you're serving there. Again, it's kind of a middle ground, kind of a blend between incorporated society and charitable trust. You've got corporate protection there, but also your trust purpose as well. Useful for trading companies if you're seeking to engage in some trade, and then you don't need to have a lot of manpower for this one either. Only one director or shareholder is required for that. So if you've got any questions, and don't worry, I won't be sending an invoice if you send me an email. I'm happy to assist, and in any way I can. Feel free to get in touch with myself, and we can have a chat. But otherwise that's really all from me. Thanks for bearing through that, and hopefully it was hopefully I haven't put anyone to sleep just yet.
Thanks very much, Isaac. That was terrific. And I forgot to mention before that if you have any questions, either for Isaac or myself or anyone, just pop them in the chat. And I see we had one come through. Kim is going to be looking at the chat and looking after the questions. So there was one there, Kim.
Yes, it's from Hannah Dawson. Can you be both? I presume an incorporated society or a charitable trust.
Can you be both?
Can you be both? Generally, it is one or the other, just because the requirements are a lot different in terms. They operate under different legislation. So my understanding is that you do have to pick one over the other in that regard.
Okay, thank you. And just FYI, everyone, our email addresses and Isaac's is in the chat. Kia ora.
Okay. Thanks very much. And just on that point of not can you be both, but which one do you become? My view has always been, I'll get Isaac to speak up if he disagrees, that a charitable trust is usually a smaller group of people who are passionate about a particular entity, and that they want to stick long term into that charitable purpose and doing the business of that trust. There might be a husband and wife or 3 or 4 people who want to run this long term and are expecting to be in it long term themselves. Whereas an incorporated society is generally where there's a wider group of people who are doing a job, like a sports club committee, and they want to come and go. You know, that you might give it a year or 2 and decide to move on. Maybe your kids stop playing the sport or something. So it's more flexible in terms of the committee. You can come and go off the committee, but a trustee in a trust is more of a fixed entity. Think about those ones for.
Oh, one more question, Doug.
Oh yeah, sure.
Does the re-registration involve a special meeting and a percentage of signatures of members? Can you elaborate on this, please?
Oh, you mean re-register? Sorry, an incorporated society, and Isaac says that you need to re-incorporate things like that. I don't think that's the case, Isaac. Do you know? Would you have to gain 10 more signatures on your signatory form?
Yeah, I suppose it depends on what obviously you're adopting a new constitution and a new set of rules which will come within as part of it. So I would anticipate that you would need to at least have a majority under the rules of that constitution to be able to A, adopt it, and B, take the steps to re-register. So I suppose it also depends on what your current rules say, because you are transitioning from a society that presumably has a set of rules and procedures about adoption of new constitution and by extension that re-registration. So I would turn to your documents that you have already, have a look at the procedures in there, and see what is required in terms of quorum for amending your constitution and taking the steps to re-register.
Right, thank you.
Okay, so we've now that Isaac has scared the pants off everybody, what I'm going to try and do is put your mind a little bit at ease as to how we might be able to get through this. And he said that we have been given until the end of 2025 to do it. One thing you'll know when you get to my age is that 2 years sometimes passes pretty quickly, and there are thousands of incorporated societies and charitable trusts out there, and as Isaac said, pretty much every one of them needs to do something in this space. So the sooner we get onto it, the better. Okay, so let's go through what we need to do. What you need to do is review your current incorporation status. So go onto the Incorporated Societies website and have a look at where you are, what you've got there, whether that's sufficient, and what needs to change. It's like that. Check that your filing is up to date. So this is before we start anything. Just make sure that all the things that you're supposed to have filed have been filed, and that everything on the site is correct. For example, do you have the current officers recorded in there? Now, you don't have to put every officer of the organisation on there, but certainly make sure you've got the right chairman and secretary and treasurer and anyone else that you think. So have a look at those, make sure you've got those right. Also important that your addresses are still current, that you haven't got the secretary's address from 25 years ago, which is no longer valid. And addresses are kind of important. Some of you will know that I'm a bit of a funding buff, and I like to help people with funding, especially from gaming trust funds. And if you're applying for gaming trusts and you know the rules that you can only get funding from venues that are in your particular area, and you look that up on the DIA website and you get a trust that is operating in your area, they often check the Incorporated Societies status, and if they see your address and it's outside the area, then and they don't have any venues in that area, then you might miss out on that funding. Maybe you might get some funding from that other area, but you need to know. So try and have a registered address that's in your particular area for funding purposes. If you're a charitable trust, is your trust deed still relevant? Isaac touched on the real importance of having the trust deed right and defining the purpose and what you can do. And you've got your trust set up, and over a period of time you change what you do. It molds or morphs into something else. It's possible to accidentally get outside the trust deed. So check your current trust deed and see, is this what we really actually do now? If not, something has to change, either what you do or the deed itself. So definitely check that. And the biggie that we're going to talk about today is reviewing your constitution if you're an incorporated society. Isaac has told you that no incorporated society has a constitution that complies. It's not quite true, because the Constitution Builder has been around for a little while, and I myself have helped organisations do a dozen or so new constitutions that are compliant with the new rules, because they have been done using the Constitution Builder that he mentioned. So, but what you need to do is review what your Constitution currently says, and then we know what we're facing in terms of what we need to change. Okay, so when you're looking at when you're reviewing your current status, look out for some of these things. You would not believe how often I have come across a charitable trust where a trustee that's named on the trust deed is no longer involved in the trust, either because they've done a few years' work, they've been thanked very much, and they've gone to live overseas, or they've stopped operating within that trust themselves, left it to a management committee, and off they go. What they haven't done is resign as a trustee. So in an incorporated society, it's easy. You just resign from the committee, and then from then on you have no obligations to that organisation. But if you're a trustee and you walk away, you're still liable, you're still responsible for the operations of that trust. So it's very good to make sure that you're not binding trustees to something that they don't even realise that they're still bound by. When the boot's on the other foot, if you're in a trust and you want to get rid of a trustee because you don't think they're very good or whatever, unless they've broken a law or acted outside the benefits of the trust, of the trustee, then you can't sack them. You can't just get rid of a trustee if they don't want to go, and so you'd have to ask them to resign, and they would have to agree to resign. So watch for those things, and in particular, if you've got trustees in your trustee that aren't involved, you need to do something about it. That's pretty important. The word probably in here is possibly needs to be struck out. To do a trust deed, you're going to need a lawyer, and Isaac mentioned that. It is possible to write a trust deed without being a lawyer. I've done a couple. I won't do any more. Not that I think I did anything wrong in those ones, but the sleepless nights it gives me is not worth it. And so you need to get a lawyer and get them to do the trust deed, and they're probably going to charge you for that. But if you want to set up a trust, it's an expense well and truly worth making. Okay, the Constitution can be done by yourself, and on the next slide we're going to go through a fair bit of how we're going to be able to do that. So you don't necessarily use a lawyer, so maybe Isaac's got a downgrade from his Lexus to a Corolla or something, but I'm sure he won't mind that. And but if you want some peace of mind, once you've done your own constitution, you can by all means pass it by either a lawyer or the community law office or somebody, just to get them to say, yes, this is okay, and can't point out to you any really bad mistakes that you've made. So if you want to do that, that's fine. But yeah, otherwise it can be done a bit easier. There are online forms for incorporation, and they're relatively simple to go through. So you can get yourself set up pretty simply. The one that is usually the sticking block is the signatures. There's a form where we used to have to get 15 signatures on that. All of those, now there's only 10 required, so you're going to save a bit of time. The point is that all those signatures have to be separately witnessed by a witness who can't then be a signature themselves. But there is a provision for one person to witness all signatures, which is fine, except that that person has to actually physically see all 10 people sign the form. The good news is that those people who sign up to say they're going to be members of this incorporated society don't actually have to become members, or they can resign pretty soon afterwards, because when you change membership, you don't need to let the Incorporated Societies Office do that. Not sure if I should have said that, Isaac, but you know, it's a fact. The bank and the IRD also have a few requirements, and it's been over a few years now becoming more and more along the lines that if you're not an incorporated society or a charitable trust, you're going to have a hard time with the bank and the IRD. I think it's already the fact that you can't get an IRD number if you're an unincorporated society, and if you can't get an IRD number, you can't get income tax exemption, you can't register for GST, and if you can't do any of those things, it is very difficult to get funding, and so funding is really important here. One thing you definitely need to get funding is a bank account, and it's hard enough getting a bank account now, even as an incorporated society, because of all of the money laundering requirements that the bank have for you. I take issue with banks that, you know, if you're wanting me to prove that I'm not laundering money, you're actually accusing me of two crimes. One is money laundering, and the other one is the fraud or embezzlement that got me the money that I want to now launder. But it's getting very hard. I'm currently the chairman of an unincorporated society that is philanthropic, and we have a bank account because we set it up 25 years ago, but making changes to that bank account is almost impossible. And in order to set one up now is very, very difficult. So it's really necessary to do these. I know that the IRD examine your incorporated society's constitution when you apply for an IRD number. So if your constitution isn't up to scratch, then they will deny you getting an IRD number. So it's really, really important that we make sure that all of our incorporation things are right up to standard. And there is going to be, I believe, and this isn't necessarily a law, but both Isaac and I agreed over a coffee, that there will be greater scrutiny of the filings that you make. Okay, I am guilty. There was one stage a few years ago, I was managing an incorporated society, and it was time to upload the financial statements for the year for that society. And I said, I wonder if anybody ever looks at these. And so instead of uploading the financial accounts, I uploaded a shopping list that my wife had just sent me to go to the supermarket that day, and thought, I wonder if anyone notices this. 12 months later, no one had said anything, so I took the shopping list down and put the right set of accounts up there. I don't believe that that's going to be possible from now on, and that's probably a good thing. So Make sure you'll have to make sure that your filings are right and correct and timely in order to maintain your incorporation status. As soon as you lose that status, then you're in some real trouble. So make sure you get those right. The Constitution Builder. Use the Incorporated Society's Constitution Builder. It is a series of questions. Probably in the ones that I've done, it's probably taken me an hour maybe to go through it from start to finish. I don't have to do it in one go. I could save what I've done and then come back to it later. It doesn't register the Constitution with the Incorporated Society, even when I've completed it. All it does is produce Constitution for you in Word format, and I can give it to the club or the management committee, or you can take it to an annual general meeting or a special general meeting and make further changes to it. And once you've decided that it's correct, then you can upload it as your official Constitution. So it's really user-friendly to go through that builder. There are some compulsory clauses, and it's been put together. The Incorporated Societies Office employed a whole bunch of lawyers to construct this builder. And so it's designed to make sure that once you get through, you have covered all that you need to from a legal standpoint. And that's why Isaac has to download his car now, because he wasn't one of those lawyers. But all of the compulsory clauses in the Constitution Builder, it won't let you continue unless you accept them. It does give you some choices as to numbers and things like that within that. But once you've put in your choices and hit submit, it won't let you pass unless you do that. There are recommended clauses. Now, I've found that I end up accepting most of them and submitting most of those recommended clauses. It's better to have it than not, and there's some really good things in there. You should also consider all of the voluntary clauses that come up. Some of them won't be appropriate for your society, and so we'll forgive you if you don't accept those ones. If you think that they might be useful either now or in the future, then by all means put them into your Constitution. Once you've done that, and you find you can have some satisfaction that the legal requirements of your society are well and truly met, and then your management committee have to know that they need to comply with your Constitution, and if they do comply with your Constitution, then the society's not in any trouble legally, and neither are they. So you get all of that comfort, which then means that you can give flexibility to your management committee. I think that on your committee, you should elect the best people who have the right skills for the job, and then let those people get on with it and do whatever they want to do without any restrictions on how they go about their business, because you've elected the right people. They know that they have to comply with the Constitution, and with that protection, they need to get on with it and do the best job they can for your society or club. So the flexibility of that is it's really important. And just on the flexibility side of things, about 30 years ago, I saw a Constitution that was about 50 years old then for a swimming club, and it had things like that in the executive meetings or in the committee meetings, each committee member was entitled to 1 cup of tea and 2 wine biscuits. those of you who don't know what a wine biscuit is, and back in my time, they were very popular biscuits, but the membership were concerned about the amount of money that the committee was spending on wine biscuits. And so they got it written into their constitution that at the meetings that this was, but there's all sorts of other things, like the fact that you have to post letters to do anything. And you nowadays, of course, you want to use the internet, and you have meetings and that online, and physical venues and things like that. So get all of that out of your constitution, and give the flexibility to the management committee to run their affairs as they see fit. So it sounds and looks scary, but it's not if you use things like the Constitution Builder, and get advice and help where you need. It's all very doable, doesn't take a long time, and it doesn't require too much effort, but it does require some attention. Okay, how can CLM help you? Okay, we're pretty good at reviewing your current status. If you're unsure about doing that yourself, we can come in there. If need be, we can connect you to a lawyer or perhaps a community law office in your area, and make that connection, and you can get that sort of help that you want. We can certainly guide you through the incorporation process, getting the forms, getting the signatures, and that side of things. As I said, am quite practiced with the Constitution Builder, so if anybody wants any assistance with doing that, we can short circuit any problems that you have, and get through that as best we can. And we can give you advice on your filing requirements, and making sure that you get things like Outlook alerts to know when you have to file particular things with the Incorporated Societies Office, etc. And looking at things that you need to do with the bank, with the IRD, with other government organisations, we're well versed in doing that as well. So all you need to do is ask, and we'll come running. So that's pretty much the end of the presentation. Kim, have you noticed any questions?
No, there's no further questions, but I put the link to the Constitution Builder in the chat.
Great. So you can have a look at that yourself. Go in and have a look, and if you get stuck or don't really know what it is, then first stop is CLM, and we'll make sure that you get right. And if we can't help, we'll find somebody who can. So on this screen here is our CR code. I'm sure you can see that. This is for our club health check tool. If your organisation hasn't already completed one of these, it's really helpful to us, and even more helpful to you if you can do this. So if you want to point your camera at the QR code, and then start at your leisure, start the health check tool. What I recommend is that you just do the first page, where you put in who you are and your email address, and then save it, and it will then send you a link to do it later at your leisure, because it does take a little bit of time to do it, and you might want to have a cup of coffee while you're sitting down to do it. So please start that health check tool, save it, and then complete it later at your leisure. You'll find you'll be able to get a lot more help from us if we know enough, if we know some things about your organisation on that. I don't know, Pat, if you're still awake. Is there
Oh,
do we have something for the feedback?
Thanks, Doug. Yes, no, that was a nice snooze.
Yeah.
Yeah, what we'll do is I'll work with Kim and team. We might just flick you out a very brief survey link. If you get a chance tomorrow when you're sort of perusing or having your morning coffee, if you could just answer our few questions survey, just let us know how you found tonight. That'd be really appreciated.
oh, excuse me. We did have another question. We have had insurance companies approach the club trying to sell liability insurance to mitigate new risks associated to the rule changes for incorporated societies. I can't see any new risks. Is this something you've heard of or could advise about?
I'll go first, and I'll give Isaac a chance if he wants after that. First of all, liability insurance is something that I would recommend, whether you're in a trust or an incorporated society. It doesn't have to be break the bank extensive, but there are still things that committee members and trustees can inadvertently find themselves on the wrong side of a problem, and liability insurance is good. If somebody's approaching you trying to sell you liability insurance, don't get sucked in. Get some advice either from us or from your insurance broker and whatever, but do some research before you sign up for liability insurance if you haven't already got it. What do you reckon, Isaac?
Yeah, look, I agree with that. It's always good to have it and not need it than not have it and need it. Certainly, in terms of the new rules, I expect that a lot of insurers are looking at it as opportune time to say, hey, you realise that there is some insurance that you could get. I haven't had anything specifically in regards to the new rules, but I am overdue a catch up with a broker I know, so I'll have to ask that question as to what their thoughts are on that. But yeah, I think you've covered it off well there. I also just wanted to touch base as well, just that question before about re-registering and the number of people you need for that, just in regards to amendment of the Constitution or altering of the Constitution. There is a section in the old 1908 Act that says that alterations to the Constitution require 3 members to sign that document. If your rules say something different, then you've got to follow those rules, but there is provision in the Act to say that you need a minimum of 3 members to sign to make an alteration for the Constitution valid. Sorry, went off on a tangent, but couldn't leave that one completely unanswered. Well, not completely answered. So, yeah.
I think the question was, okay, we need to reincorporate. We need another 10 signatures, but we'll find that out, and we'll let all the attendees here know about it. So.
Yeah, and I'll come back about the insurance as well.
Yeah. Tim.
Yes, from Vanessa, it's just something about the health check tool. Vanessa's doing the health club check, and it's saying that it's free, but it's asking for her credit card details, which that's not right.
You're in the wrong place.
Yeah.
Did you get that from my QR code, Vanessa?
That's not right. Please do not give your credit card details.
Yeah, do not do
anybody.
Perhaps get out of it and give us a call, and we'll make sure you go the right way. I did one today, and it didn't. I didn't have any of that problem. So it should just ask you on the first page your name, position, and your name of the organisation, your position, and your email address, and perhaps your phone number, and then give you the option to save it. And when you save it, it asks you for the email address that it's going to send the link to, and then it will send you a link to come back in the future and complete the thing. So I get it, Vanessa. Get right out of where you are, and contact us later. Okay, so no more questions, Kim?
No, just that Sasha said that when she logged into the health check tool, she didn't have, she wasn't asked for those details.
Okay,
So
well done,
that's
Sasha.
Yep.
Okay. And we'll have a chance. You've still got a chance to ask a question, but I'd like to particularly thank Isaac for coming along, giving us his time free of charge. He even mentioned that if you want to give him a call because you're not certain about a couple of things, then he won't charge you for the phone call, but watch if you then sign him up to do some work. As I said, Isaac and I had a cup of coffee recently, and he didn't charge me for that either. In fact, he paid. But during the course of the conversation, we discovered that on the 1st of June, both of us are flying to Fiji for a wedding. They are separate weddings. We might be on the same plane, but they are separate weddings. Mine is the wedding of a family member, and Isaac's is his own wedding. He's getting married in Fiji very early in June, and which is probably another reason why you have to downgrade your car, Isaac. But all the best for that, and thank you for coming along here today.
Oh, thank you very much, Doug. Yeah, my wife-to-be has made the joke that I'll have to sell the car and get a runabout to pay for the wedding. Yeah, looking forward to it. It's yeah, not far away, but yeah, just want to say, yeah, give my thanks again, and yeah, really appreciate the opportunity to come along and talk to you guys. And yeah, offer remains open. If there is any questions, feel free to put me a call, yeah, or an email. And yeah, happy to have a chat with you. Yeah, really appreciate what you're trying to do here, and yeah, all the best.